Welcome to the channel. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. So on today's video, we will be looking at the new re-release of the Hexmariner 39 by Revelot. Now Revelot is a brand which I've featured a few times, and their watch collection is quite extensive in terms of the designs they offer. They don't just do one particular design. They do have a wide collection. But there's one defining model, I believe, which is always going to be related to Revelot, and they are going to be known for this one particular watch. For example, with Zelos, I see the Swordfish as that one watch that defines that brand. So the Hexmariner I have here, this is the version 1 that I had. I decided to keep this one because that's how much I liked it. So with this new release, the watch is exactly the same. They just have a few different colors, and of course they've got more models because this was very popular. Now, in between the first 39 and this 39, they did release a 42 because I believe the first Hexmariner they did was a 42. So it's an incredibly popular design. You can all tell why, because it takes a very popular watch design, based off the sub, but it makes it so different. And this is the only, I'd say, sub inspired watch out there that is similar but yet so different, which is why I like it. And I think the best one is the 39mm. The proportions, dimensions are brilliant, and of course with Revelot's design language, the variants are numerous, and they've got some really high quality details here, a lot of attention to detail as well all around the watch. So I appreciate a lot of you guys do know about the Hexmariner, the first version 39. I'll also link my original review to this. But for those of you guys that have never seen this watch before, I'll give you some detail, right? So we're going to go through the specifications and dimensions briefly. And then I'm going to show you some of the features which really stand out on this watch. We're going to look at some of the finishing used on this because this is really high quality. There's a lot of detail on this. And the last thing is we are going to head over to the website and look at all the different variants available. They do have some nice new materials. What you can see in hand is this new mother of pearl dial that they have. And if you just look a bit closer, you can just see the mother of pearl is actually in all these little hexagons. And this is something about Revelot. They do put that theme across the whole watch. So this is a Hexmariner and there is hexiness all over the place. And I'm also going to do just a quick comparison on some of the functionality to see if they're both the same. This watch is set to launch in just 3 days time or 2 days time depending on when this video is released. The launch day is the 12th of November, and a lot of these models do sell out really quick because, as I said, it's a very popular watch. Now in terms of upgrades, there is only one real upgrade, and I'll talk you guys through that. So let's get started. Let's put the box away. Let's have a look at the reissued Hexmariner 39. So in regards to specifications, they are exactly the same as the first one. So you got your basic things like a sapphire crystal with AR coating. You've got that ceramic bezel insert. You've got 200 meters of water resistance with a screw down crown and a screw down case back. You've got the Seiko NH35 movement. Now the only one upgrade is on the first Hexmariner 39. You had a fold over clasp with 5 micro adjustments. They have now upgraded that to, you guessed it, it's a glide lock version, and the glide lock is something which is more and more common these days, and it's perfect for a dive watch. And the glide lock feature is really handy. What I do find is as the temperatures change, sometimes your wrist is a certain size, or it does kind of change by millimeters. So the glide lock there is quite useful. Now at this point, I can mention the little upgrade they're going to do from this model to the production. There is a little, let's say, fault or an area for improvement, and that's the last link which connects the glide lock to the rest of the links. With this one, what they noticed afterwards is that there is a limited articulation on the clasp. I think there's a bit too much material at this end on the joint there, so it doesn't really fold. Now to compare with what we have here, you can see the design is slightly different and there's a lot more movement on that last link. So that's something they've recognized, and they're going to improve that on the production models. In fact, because once it closes, you see that link doesn't fold across, whereas on the first one, you've got a bit more movement there. Okay, with respect to dimensions, again, very similar. There is a couple of mil difference between the first one, nothing too significant. The diameter is still 39mm, thickness is 13mm, and the lug to lug on the previous one was around 44.1mm, and on this one it's around 44.3, 44.4, and again, it's negligible, right? And with such a compact lug to lug, those male end links don't really have an impact on overall wearability. In fact, once a bracelet is folded, the overall lug to lug from these points is just 49 millimeters, and of course the lug width is still 20 millimeters. So yeah, we've got, you know, very minimal changes. The main changes, as I said, is going to be the colorways on offer. With regards to the design of this watch, there was one thing which stood out to me and made me fall in love with it, was just the attention of detail. This whole hex theme is present throughout the whole watch. So there's a couple of things I want to bring your attention to, particularly if it's the first time you're seeing this watch. So let's take a look at the dial. Now this dial, being a mother of pearl, you know, it could have been a flat mother of pearl, but they've gone with this honeycomb design on this mop dial, which of course, you know, has to be noted. There's a fair bit of work gone into this to produce this, and it's really nice to look at. It is really appreciated. And you'll notice that they've got these multifaceted hour markers as well, and each of these hour markers is also beveled and polished. So you'll see that angled design throughout, you know, every part of this watch. If we take a look at the handsets, beautifully brushed down the center, polished bevels on the side, and those nice bevel points on the end. You'll also see the counterbalance on the seconds hand in that hex style, and also that pip. So that theme is present throughout. I think it's a very eye-catching theme. Now, I just want to compare a couple of things on function here. So I have the bezel on the first one that I had and the bezel on this one. Let's just see how they differ. So the bezel on the first one is okay, slightly muted, but very solid. Good resistance as well, which is the key thing I think, and it does line up nicely. Now with this new one, let's take a look. So it's slightly louder, and it's just slightly looser in resistance. Still pretty stable, and you've got your polished sort of diamond-like scallops there. But yeah, there is just a difference in resistance on the rotation. Still perfectly lines up at the 12 o'clock. Crown-wise, everything's the same. You can see the Revelot logo just on the crown. I do believe that is Lume, so we'll have a look at the Lume shot. Now, another aspect which I really liked about that whole hex theme coming across on the watch, that it's not just present on the dial. If you take a look at the case, you will not see a sub-inspired case with this much detail. And this detail is also present on the 42mm version. Is just have a look at the bevels present all around the side of the case, and you know how they really complement the whole watch design. The end links do have a near perfect fit. I mean, I'd say that is pretty perfect there. The angles match, you know, if you pay attention to that line which goes from the lugs across the end links. Now there's a lot of brands that actually miss that line there. You can see on so many, including some high-end brands, but they've got that lined up pretty well. You go across the side of the case as well, very fine brushing, you can see to the side, beveled polished edges really do make that case stand out, and it really highlights the facets that you've got here. Now there's one thing which I find quite funny, as somebody did put a comment on one of the older videos, is that nobody has shown the case back apparently. So according to this individual, he's not seen the case back. So let's give him a couple of seconds on this. So the case back, I mean, it's see-through, but it's nothing special. There's that hex design on there in gold. I don't know if that's very clear. Well, this one's silver, and the one I had on the version 1, I think it's in gold. So yeah, I mean, it's a nice way to show an exhibition case back, but the NH35 isn't very pretty to look at all. It's very basic, so they've kind of made it a bit more interesting, which is appreciated. I mean, you can see the brushed circular brushing as well, and the model number on there. You'll also see quick release bars on the bracelets as well, which is really handy. But the bracelet is so good, you would want to keep it on the bracelet. I've never took the bracelet off to put it on a different strap. The bracelet, I think the bracelet is such a good match for the watch. So you can see it's a 3-link bracelet with facets on every link. Gives it really interesting light play, but it is very smooth in hand. You've got polished bevels just on the edges, a flat side, and just love that light play. And it's quite comfortable as well. You know, the links are normal size, they're not oversized, and it's not too small. So it's got a nice balance there. Now, the one thing that they've stuck to here is they've stuck to pin and collar. Now, people might want screw-in links. Revelot's justification is that, you know, screw-in links do kind of come loose over time. That has happened on a few of my watches. And that comes down to just how much Loctite is placed. Sometimes the factories get it wrong, sometimes they get it right. Let's give you guys a quick look at the Lume. You can see the Lume is very bright. This version only features a BGW9. There's a lot of Lume on the bezel insert, loads on the markers and the handset, punchy, and that's exactly what you want when you look at this Lume. You also got a bit of Lume on the crown. Now, if you compare this to the previous version, which was C3, I'm not too sure if that BGW9 in there, but yeah, that one is C3, which I have. But yeah, in comparison, both are still as good as each other. So in the Lume department, massive thumbs up. So we're on the website, and yeah, it's essential to go on the website to look at all you have available. There's some really nice close-up and shots of what you see. So this is the red I was talking about, that blood red. I mean, red is a really nice color on a watch. It definitely makes it pop. And then they've got this purple, and purple is quite in. You guys have seen so the purple I've got on my Nautic that I'll be releasing soon. Yeah, purple just definitely stands out. Let's go down to the actual models. So here we go. So we start off with the Storm Steel right in the center there, and that's your basic blue. It doesn't, let me zoom in, so which is a shame. But yeah, this is your basic blue Storm Steel, and I'm not going to go through all the prices, but basically the pricing structure is as such. I mean, they do vary between the variants, but they start off, the lowest price you're going to pay is $280, which is around £216, and the most you'll be paying for, I think the bicolor version is $340. So there's a bit of a range. You're saving about £30 to £40, so that's about $50 to $60 between early bird and retail. So the next one we have is the Blood Red. I expect the Blood Red to sell out quite quick. It's a sort of a fume as well. You got the red in the center, it darkens out towards the sides. Very striking color indeed. And then you've got that punchy yellow Luminova. But you'll notice is you've got yellowish lume on the bezel there, and you also got a lumed dial as it appears on there. So the yellow, again, striking, does stand out quite a lot. Then you've got your black ember, and you can see just a bit of orange lume, I believe, or is that just a picture? But yeah, you've got your black and orange. Then you get your black aventurine. Aventurine is nice, it's a nice dial. Then you've got a blue aventurine. I think there's a shade difference in the blue, but you've got a blue bezel on that. Then you've got your blue aventurine bicolor steel, so that blue and sort of bronzy goldy look, yeah, for those hardcore sub lovers. And then you've got your mosaic purple, and you've got your mosaic mother of pearl purple, which does look quite catching. That purple, I think, is the new color in these days. Does look really nice. And then it comes up to the one I've got, the mosaic mother of pearl. So yeah, a very decent range. They have mentioned lapis lazuli on some of the promo material, but I don't see any lapis lazuli dials. I mean, this is the old range, right? All sold out, and I'd say some of the colors will be better. You had meteorite dials in there, that gold and green. So the first version, I think, had a lot more. This one, they've kind of condensed it a bit, but there still is ample choice. So what they've stated here is the delivery should be expected in late December or early Jan, and we're in November now, so you've got quite a short lead time. So I'm guessing things are pretty ready, for this to be done. So the pre-order, you don't have to wait too much, basically. That is it. That's as much information I can give you on the Revelot Hexmariner 39. So a lot of people will be happier now because they've been wanting this 39mm to come back. And thank you all for watching. Let me know your thoughts and comments in the section below, as always, and I will see you on the next video.